Imagine yourself as a soldier in World War II, stationed on the front lines. You'll live the role in all its thrilling details. The cold mornings in the trenches, moments of boredom and fear, and the humor of your comrades that breaks the harshness of reality. This isn't just a story, it's an experience that will change your perspective. Don't forget to subscribe to encourage us for more, and let us know in the comments which country you're following us from. Time seems to freeze in the trenches. You wake to the sound of sporadic gunfire, playing a melancholic morning symphony. There is no soft bed or warm blanketure. Bed is the cold ground at the bottom of a deep trench, covered with damp burlap from the night's dew. You open your eyes slowly, and the first thing you see is the earthen ceiling of the trench, with a faint sliver of dawn's light seeping through. The smell of wet dirt and old gunpowder fills your nostrils. Your limbs are numb from the cold, despite being wrapped in your heavy woolen coat, which has seen more days than you have. You try to move quietly to avoid waking your sleeping comrade, who mumbles incoherently in his dreams. A dull ache lingers in your back from sleeping on small pebbles you didn't notice in the dark. You sit up, stretching your legs with difficulty as numbness creeps into them. You look at your hands, rough, dirty nails caked with mud. There's no water to wash, no mirror to see your weary face, not even a brush to tame your dry, matted hair. All you have is a small canteen of water in your pocket, meant only for drinking. You pull a cigarette from its metal case and light it with a match, savoring the faint warmth of the flame against your fingers. You inhale deeply, the smoke filling your chest with a false warmth before rising into the cold trench air. These simple moments are your only luxury in this harsh place. Your comrade begins to stir, groaning softly before looking at you with sleepy eyes. "Morning, brother-in-arms. Are we still alive?" he says. You give him a tired smile and reply, "As long as the sun rises, we're alive, and the war goes on." This is your daily exchange, few words, heavy with meaning. He points to a small handmade stove in a corner of the trench. "Come on, the fire's lit now. Maybe we'll find some warmth." You crawl toward it, the cramped space demanding careful movement. You find other comrades gathered around the stove, hands outstretched to catch its faint heat. Their faces are weary, eyes red from lack of sleep. One offers you a piece of stale bread, saying, "This is what's left of the rations, brother. Till the next batch arrives, this is breakfast." You take it, knowing it's been your companion for days, its taste as bitter as the war itself. You dip it in a bit of water to soften it, eating slowly as if it's your last meal. You try to recall the taste of fresh bread from home, the smell of your mother's sweets. You close your eyes, chasing that memory, but the cold wind whistling above the trench snaps you back to reality. After your meager breakfast, the real day begins. The commander, his face as tired as yours, but with a spark of determination in his eyes, speaks in a low voice. "Morning patrol, boys. Let's make sure the enemy hasn't slipped through in the night. Grip your rifle, feeling the cold metal in your hand, and place your helmet on your head." You crawl out of the trench with extreme caution, like a snake slithering through grass. The ground is frozen, laced with every kind of danger. Each step could be your last. You scan your surroundings. Barren trees, earth churned by shells, and barbed wires spread like a giant spider's web. The sky is gray, with fog clinging to distant trees. Hours pass as you move slowly, ears alert for any strange sound, eyes scanning every inch of ground. Fear creeps into your bones, but you feign courage. A soldier learns to live by pretending to be strong until strength becomes part of him. You pass an old corpse, remnants of past battles. You see it but feel nothing. Your eyes have grown accustomed to the dead. You wonder if you'll be one of them someday, but quickly push the thought away. Despair has no place here. You return to the trench after a long, uneventful patrol. You remove your helmet and breathe heavily, realizing you were holding your breath the whole time. You'd sit in a corner, leaning against the earthen wall, and close your eyes, exhausted. Time means nothing. Here days blend together, each one a struggle for survival. You sit in a corner of the trench, exhaustion seeping into your bones. The gray air hangs heavy, and the cold wind is your only companion. There's little to do in these slow, dragging hours. You take another piece of bread, now even drier, and try to bite into it. It's so hard it nearly breaks your teeth. You mutter to yourself, "This bread's tougher than the enemy's defenses." Your comrade approaches, holding a strangely shaped stone with mock seriousness. Brother, I've found a game to pass the boredom. So you can find a stone as hard as our commander's heart. You laugh softly. Though laughter here feels almost like a crime under constant watch, you reply. His heart's softer than that stone. I saw him silently cry over a fallen soldier yesterday, but he wears a mask of toughness for us. Another comrade pulls out a worn photo of his wife and children, staring at it with longing. You know what I'll do with my first paycheck after the war? He says, voice thick with pain. I yelled by a big bird to fly over our heads and tell us when this damned war will end. Another replies bitterly, don't bother. No bird will find a sign to tell us when this hell is over. It's dark humor, but it's the only way to lighten the weight of reality. At noon, the sacred time of the meal arrives. You gather to eat your meager daily ration. A large pot is brought out, filled with the simplest food available, a pale soup, perhaps with some dried vegetables and more stale bread. The smell isn't appetizing, but hunger makes it a feast. You sit with your comrades, each reaching for their share. There's little talk during the meal. Everyone is focused on sating their hunger. One comrade tries to lighten the tense mood. You know, I've started dreaming of holding a key, searching for a hidden pantry. They must be hiding delicious dishes somewhere. Some smile bitterly, and another replies, find the fresh bread pantry first. I've forgotten what it tastes like. You eat slowly, trying to make your stomach feel full for as long as possible. The sounds of slow chewing and distant shells remind you of where you are. This simple meal is more a moment of psychological respite than nourishment. After lunch, a cautious silence returns to the trench. Some clean their rifles with meticulous cara-jammed barrel could mean death. Others write letters to their families with trembling hands and few words heavy with longing. You think about writing to your family, but find the words frozen on your tongue. What would you say? I'm fine, when that word has lost all meaning here. You lie on your side, using your arm as a pillow, and try to sleep, but thoughts race through your mind. Then you hear your comrades talking quietly about their dreams. After the war, one wants to open a small candy shop, other to see the sea for the first time. You open your eyes slightly and look at the sky through the trench's opening. A large black crow flies across the horizon. Silently you ask it, do you see an end to this nightmare, bird? Or are you warning us of more bodies to come? The calm here isn't rest, it's anticipation of the coming storm. Every quiet moment is a chance to recharge body and soul for what lies ahead, which will never be easy. As the sun sets and the gray sky transforms into a canvas of somber colors, the trench grows quieter but more tense. The distant sounds of snipers remind you of the ever-watchful enemy. The cold bites harder, seeping into your bones. You hear a comrade shivering, muttering, another night here, brother. I'm starting to feel like a tree rooted in this mud, my roots deeper than the trench itself. You smile faintly and reply, don't worry, at least you'd be the only tree that doesn't rust. Another comrade pulls a small, dirt-covered piece of chocolate from his pocket. I've saved this gem for a week, he says with mock pride. I was waiting for the right moment to eat it, but I've decided we should share it. Life's too short to hoard chocolate. You all smile and take tiny pieces, savoring the fleeting sweetness that almost makes you forget the war's bitterness. You feel a pang of guilt you wouldn't have thought to share if it were yours. The war has changed you more than you realized. As night falls, visibility fades, and mysterious sounds grow louder. You know, this is when the enemy might strike. You take turns keeping watch, each soldier spending long hours peering into the darkness. When your turn comes, you crawl silently to the lookout point, eyes fixed through your rifle's sight. The silence is absolute, broken only by the wind and the hum of nocturnal insects. You try to focus, but your mind wanders. You think of your old home, your warm bed, your mother's smiling face. You smell the dinner she used to cook and hear your sister's laughter. Soft voice from your comrade beside you interrupts. No, I promised myself if I survive this war, I'll open a restaurant. I'll serve only one thing, roasted potatoes. So delicious they'll make people forget the stale bread and spices we've eaten here. He sighs deeply. But I don't know if that's a dream or a joke. Reply softly, if we make it, I'll be your first customer. I'll ask for an extra spoonful of roasted bread if possible. He lets out a heavy sigh, almost a sad laugh. The cold grows harsher, the darkness thicker. Every sound rustling leaves, insects, even your heartbeat feels amplified. You check your rifle, ensuring the bullets are ready. It's your only friend in this darkness. You feel alone, but you're not. Every soldier around you feels the same, and that shared feeling makes you brothers in war. Fragmented sleep and troubled dreams. When your watch ends, you return to your sleeping spot. You lie down, trying to close your eyes. The cold seeps into your bones, and the sounds of war still echo in your ears. Sleep here isn't rest, it's a fitful doze, always ready for a sudden attack. You dream strange, chaotic dreams. Perhaps you're in your family's kitchen, your mother cooking a delicious meal. But the sound of a simmering pot turns into an exploding shell, jolting you awake. Or you dream of running through an endless green field under a warm sun, only to wake disappointed, realizing it was just a dream. Every night is a battle with darkness, fear, and cold. But one thing keeps you going: hope. A faint hope that this war will end, that you'll return to your old life, your homeland, your family. This hope is the only flame that doesn't extinguish in the war's darkness. You close your eyes again, trying to surrender to sleep, hoping to find a sliver of true rest in your dreams. The world outside the trench is a wasteland. Skeletal trees stripped bare by shell fire, earth scarred and churned by explosions, barbed wire twisting like a serpent across the terrain. The sky is a heavy gray, fog draping the distant hills like a shroud. You move slowly, heart pounding, eyes scanning for any sign of movement. Your ears strain for the snap of a twig, the rustle of grass, anything that could betray an enemy's presence. Fear is a constant companion, a cold weight in your chest, but you bury it beneath a mask of bravery. To survive, you've learned to wear courage like a second skin, even when it feels like a lie. You pass the remains of a soldier, his uniform faded and torn, a relic of a battle fought weeks ago. His lifeless eyes stare at the sky, and you look away, your heart hardened by the sight of too many fallen. You wonder if that will be your fate, but you shake the thought away. Despair is a luxury you can't afford. After hours of tense silence, the patrol returns to the trench without incident. You slump against the wall, removing your helmet and exhaling a breath you didn't realize you'd been holding. Exhaustion washes over you, and you close your eyes, the world fading for a moment as you try to reclaim a piece of yourself. The afternoon drags on, each minute heavy with monotony. You sit in a corner of the trench, the gray air pressing down, the wind's mournful howl, your only company. You pull out another piece of bread, now so dry it could double as a weapon. This is tougher than the enemy's bunkers, you mutter, half to yourself. Elias overhears and grins, holding up a jagged stone. Found something to cure the boredom, brother. Let's have a contest. Who can find a rock as hard as Captain Voss's heart? You chuckle, the sound foreign in this place. His heart's softer than you think, you reply. I saw him wipe away a tear for Private Jonas last week, though he'd never admit it. The humor is a lifeline, a way to stitch together the fraying edges of your sanity. Another soldier, Private Luca, pulls a crumpled photograph from his pocket, his wife, and 2 young daughters. Their faces frozen in a happier time. His eyes glisten as he speaks, voice thick with longing. When this war's over, I'm buying a big kite. I'll fly it over these fields and let it tell me when this nightmare ends. Marek, ever the cynic, snorts. Save your money, Luca. No kite's high enough to see the end of this hell. The laughter that follows is bitter, but it's a shield against the crushing reality. Noon brings the sacred ritual of mealtime. The men gather around a large, dented pot filled with a watery soup pail. With a few shriveled vegetables and chunks of the ever-present stale bread, the smell is far from appetizing, but hunger transforms it into a delicacy. You sit shoulder to shoulder with your comrades, each man focused on his portion, the act of eating a brief escape from the war's weight. Conversation is sparse, but Marek tries to lighten the mood. I swear, I'm dreaming of a key to a secret pantry. They're hiding roast beef and fresh pies somewhere. I know it. Adam smirks, chewing slowly. Find me a loaf of fresh bread first. I've forgotten what it tastes like. You eat deliberately, savoring each bite, willing your stomach to feel full. The distant boom of artillery punctuates the silence, a reminder that peace is an illusion here. In this moment, the simple act of sharing a meal feels like a small victory. After lunch, the trench falls into a wary hush. Some soldiers clean their rifles with obsessive care, knowing a single speck of dirt could spell disaster. Others scratch out letters to loved ones, their words halting and heavy with unspoken fears. You consider writing to your family, but find yourself at a loss. "I'm fine" feels like a betrayal of the truth. Instead, you lie on your side, using your arm as a pillow, and try to steal a moment of rest. Your mind races, haunted by memories of home and the uncertainty of tomorrow. You overhear your comrades' quiet conversations, dreams of a life beyond the war. Elias wants to open a bakery, filling it with the sweets his mother taught him to make. Luca dreams of seeing the ocean, its vastness a promise of freedom. You glance up through the trench's narrow opening, catching sight of a lone crow circling against the gray sky. Silently you ask it, "Is there an end to this, or are you here to count the dead?" The calm is deceptive, a prelude to the chaos you know is coming. As the sun dips below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of bruised purple and orange, the trench grows quieter, the air thick with tension. The faint crack of a sniper's rifle echoes in the distance, a reminder of the enemy's sleepless vigilance. The cold returns with a vengeance, biting through your coat and into your bones. Elias, shivering beside you, mutters, "Another night in this pit, brother. I'm starting to think I'm part of the earth now, roots and all." You force a smile. "At least you'd be a tree that doesn't freeze." Wreck. Pulls out a tiny piece of chocolate, its wrapper dusted with dirt. "Saved this for a week," he says, a grin masking his exhaustion. "Thought I'd wait for a special occasion, but hell, we might not get one. Let's share it." You each take a sliver, the sweetness, a fleeting gift that cuts through the war's bitterness. You feel a twinge of shame. You wouldn't have shared it if it were yours. The war has hardened you in ways you're only beginning to understand. Night cloaks the trench in darkness, sharpening every sound. You know this is when the enemy might strike, silent and deadly. You take your turn at the watch, crawling to the lookout post and peering through your rifle's sight. The world is a blur of shadows, broken only by the wind's moan and the chirp of insects. Your mind drifts despite your efforts to stay alert. You see your childhood home, the creak of the porch swing, your mother's laughter, the smell of her stew simmering on the stove. The memories are so vivid they ache. A soft voice breaks the silence. Elias, standing beside you. "If I make it out of here," he says, "I'm opening a tavern. It's just one dish, roasted potatoes, so good, they'll make you forget this place." He pauses, his breath visible in the cold. "Think it's a dream, or just a bad joke?" You reply. "If we survive, I'm your first customer. Throw in some extra gravy." His laugh is a quiet, broken thing, but it's enough to keep the darkness at bay. The cold tightens its grip, and every sound leaves insects. Your own heartbeat feels like a threat. You check your rifle, fingers brushing the cold steel, your only ally in the night. Loneliness gnaws at you, but you're not alone. Every soldier in the trench carries the same fears, the same hopes, binding you together in a brotherhood forged by war. Dawn breaks with a sound unlike any other, piercing whistle that shatters the morning's stillness, followed by the commander's shout, "Attack! Attack!" Your heart lurches, adrenaline flooding your veins. This is the moment you've dreaded and prepared for. You grab your rifle, secure your helmet, and light a cigarette with shaking hands, drawing a deep breath as if it's your last. The trench erupts into chaos, soldiers scrambling, voices overlapping, the air thick with the smell of gunpowder. You climb the ladder, emerging into no man's land. The open space between your lines and the enemy's, the roar of artillery deafens you. Shells exploding in geysers of dirt and shrapnel. Bullets whistle past a deadly rain. You crawl, run, duck, dodging the blasts that tear the earth apart. A comrade falls beside you, but there's no time to mourn. Survival demands you keep moving. You come face to face with an enemy soldier, his eyes wide with the same fear and exhaustion you feel. For a fleeting moment, you see him not as an enemy, but as a man caught in the same nightmare. But the moment passes, and instinct takes over. You aim fire, the recoil jarring your shoulder, the smell of burning powder filling your mouth. Amid the chaos, time seems to slow, each second etched in stark clarity. Then, impossibly, the sounds fade. The gunfire stops, the artillery falls silent. An eerie quiet blankets the battlefield, a silence you haven't known in months. You look around, seeing your surviving comrades staring at one another in disbelief. Captain Voss's voice cuts through, steady but soft. "Cease fire. The war is over. You can't believe it. Is this another cruel trick of the war?" But the silence is real, no shells, no bullets, only the whisper of the wind and the ragged breathing of the living. You sink to the ground, leaning against a mound of earth, and remove your helmet. The cool air brushes your matted hair and you stare at your mud-stained hands, marveling that you're still alive. Elias sits beside you, his eyes fixed on the horizon. "It's over," he whispers. "Is it really over?" You reply, voice trembling, "I don't know, but the guns are quiet." The days that follow are surreal. The war is over, but its scars remain. You and your comrades are adrift, the rhythm of battle having defined your lives for so long. You see enemy soldiers emerging from their trenches as weary and broken as you. There's no hatred now, only a shared exhaustion and a longing for home. The journey back is long on foot, in rickety trucks, and finally on a creaking train. In every town you pass, people celebrate, children running through the streets, women waving from windows. Makeshift victory arches rise, and smiles you'd forgotten light up faces. Life is stirring again, but you feel like a stranger in it. The war has changed. Your eyes see the world differently, and the silence now unsettles you more than the roar of guns. Sleep eludes you, haunted by memories of the trench. You reach your village, the familiar house and garden tree unchanged. When you knock, your mother opens the door, her eyes brimming with tears and joy. She pulls you into a fierce embrace, the smell of earth and gunpowder still clinging to your clothes. No words are needed, the hug, and tears speak louder than any language. The days pass, and you try to fit back into civilian life. The sounds of war fade slowly, replaced by the hum of everyday routines. You return to your old job, or start anew, finding a quiet appreciation for the small things, a slice of fresh bread, a glass of cold water, a night unbroken by gunfire. The war is over, but its shadow lingers, a reminder of the cost of survival and the fragile hope that carried you through. This expanded version adds depth to the characters. For example, naming comrades like Elias Marek and Captain Voss enriches sensory. Details, for example, the tactile feel of the rifle, the vivid smells of home, and enhances emotional resonance. For example, the guilt over not sharing the chocolate, the surreal transition to peace. It maintains the original structure and tone while offering a more immersive and nuanced narrative.